When buying a new car, we often develop an obsession for brochures and spec sheets. And it's important to make an informed decision, but it's also worth noting that there are just some things that appeal more to your emotions. The Lamando is SAIC Volkswagen's entry into the compact car segment. Yes, you heard me right, this is a compact car. But it can be easily mistaken for a mid-sized executive sedan because of its size and overall appeal. But this actually shares the same platform as the Audi A3, and that's known as the MQB platform. Now, I don't usually comment on looks, but this thing is eye candy from any angle. At the front, you get Volkswagen's signature grille in between LED headlamps. In typical VW or Audi fashion, the Lamando sports clean body lines and rolls on 17-inch wheels, which could be mistaken for something bigger. The space between the windshield and sunroof is blacked out to give the impression that there's just one piece of glass. Quite a nice touch. At the back, you get LED taillights, and the only design flaw, as far as I'm concerned, would be the fake exhaust tips integrated in the rear bumper. But one thing worth pointing out is this car's superior build quality. All moving parts feel very solid, and the doors and trunk close with an extremely satisfying thud.
I just can't seem to get enough of this. This sound is so satisfying.
Speaking of trunk, this has a capacity of 372 liters. You can fold the rear seats down if more space is needed. Overall, the Lamando manages to be striking without being outlandish. Inside, the Lamando plays the same tune. The dashboard and layout is somewhat conventional, and there are even hard plastics here and there. Yet, I find myself mesmerized by this interior. Despite the traditional layout of the dashboard, you will find niceties such as a digital instrument cluster, dual zone climate control, one-touch power windows for all doors, heated seats, a 9.2-inch infotainment screen with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, a frameless rear-view mirror, and a huge sunroof. You also get leather seats with white contrast piping. These are some of the most supportive and well-bolstered seats in this segment. In terms of storage, you get cubbies on the center console and a dampened and felted glove box for that extra touch of class. Okay, so sitting at the back of the Lamando, everything still feels extremely upscale. There are carbon fiber touches here, center air vents, 2 charge ports, an armrest with 2 cup holders. And obviously, there's heaps of legroom and headroom. But it's not just the space or the amenities that sets this thing apart. It's really how comfortable it is back here. Now, sitting at the back seat of a sedan is typically just a bit better than sitting on a park bench. But not with the Lamando, because the bolstering here is equivalent to that of some of the front seats in some other vehicles. And look at these headrests. They don't push your head forward. It is extremely comfortable here. I can't say it'll be the same case for whoever's sitting in the middle, because the center tunnel is a tad bit high. But overall, I wouldn't mind being chauffeured in this thing. Now, the Lamando comes with a 1.4-liter engine that pumps out 150 horsepower. And if that disappoints you, then I probably didn't make myself clear enough at the start of the show. Because like I said, there are things that go beyond numbers and figures. Because that 1.4-liter engine has a turbocharger. And all that is mated to a 7-speed DSG transmission, which is Volkswagen's direct shift gearbox. And boy, is it snappy. And the good thing about it is it revs all the way to 6,500 RPM, even when you're not on manual mode. But when you are on manual mode, the gear shifts are also snappy. But it does auto upshift. Now there's a slight bit of turbo lag low down in the RPM range. But once the turbo kicks in, it sinks you in your seat and puts a big smile on your face. No brochure can illustrate the joy I'm feeling right now. Now the ride is really soft, but the handling is also really good. It still feels really planted. The engine also sounds pretty good. You'd be mistaken for thinking that it wasn't a 1.4 liter 4-popper in there. But the thing is, not everyone's going to behave like a 17-year-old who's just gotten his driver's license for the first time behind the wheel. Some people are going to want this to be composed and civilized. Those who drive like decent human beings. And when it comes to that, the Lamando will still deliver. Because the ride is just so composed. And the suspension is so compliant. Plus, the NVH is absolutely fantastic. The only noise that creeps in is the sound of the engine when you're past 5,000 RPM. But that's a sound I really don't mind hearing. The steering is light, but the ratio is pretty quick. And I really like the fact that it stiffens up as you get faster. So as far as compact sedans are concerned, this actually gives you the best of both worlds. Because if you want comfort and refinement, this delivers. But if you also want to have fun behind the wheel, you won't be left wanting either. I say this a lot, but I'm gonna say it again. It's just sad that a lot of people overlook sedans these days. Because this sedan in particular, it delivers something that you'll never get, or currently don't get, from a crossover or a PPV. This just has an added level of refinement that you don't get in most compact cars. And if you could be fooled to think that this is a mid-sized executive car from the outside, it's exactly the same case when you drive it or when you ride in it. It's that good. I'm so glad that cars like this still exist, because I think that ground clearance and versatility are overrated. Sadly, these cars are on the brink of extinction because some people choose to look the other way. But if you've worked hard enough to afford something like this, then you really owe it to yourself to at least take this on a test drive.